Hey, how's it going? Today I'm talking about proof of time, how to get fast enough to have a proof of time.
This is Running to the Castle, a podcast for injury prone Run Disney runners on a journey to running magical miles. Join me, Dr. Allie, as I share the secrets I've gathered as a runner, doctor of physical therapy, and coach. You'll learn the exact ways I get my clients to the castle strong without feeling broken or held together with KT tape as they cross the finish line.
If you're new to the Run Disney world, the half marathon and full marathon, you can input proof of time, meaning you have proof that you can run a certain pace. This would be less than 2 hours and 30 minutes for a half marathon and less than 5 hours for the full marathon. If you're going to run slower than those two paces for the designated race, you don't need a proof of time to input on registration day because you will be put in a corral. It's actually random. But if you are on the cusp or think that you could do it by the next time you have your race, you can submit a proof of time. I have talked about in another episode about getting proof of time. This is how to get fast enough to have that proof of time. But with proof of time, there are a few things to keep in mind. You need, if it's going to be from a Run Disney race, it needs to be input on registration day. That is what I have heard. I don't have a proof of time right now. My fastest half marathon has been, I think, 2 hours and 22 minutes at the Rock and Roll San Diego in 2017, if I'm remembering correctly. That technically would be fast enough, the actual time, but I'm outside the time window. And I don't think I could do that right now. So I'm not using a proof of time. I'm definitely not using one from Run Disney because if you've been around for any length of time, you know my only actual in-person Run Disney race has been the half marathon at marathon weekend that turned into half of a half. So I personally have not done this yet. Operative word there, because I will in the future. I will hopefully be able to get fast enough to get at least 2 hours and 29 minutes for a half marathon to be able to submit that. But I haven't done this yet. And if you've been listening, you know I have never run a marathon yet. In the future. So take this information for some parts with a grain of salt, like the inputting the Run Disney specific time on registration day. I'm basing that on rules that are on Run Disney's website. Okay, not personal experience. But it does say if it's going to be a Run Disney race, it needs to be input on the day of registration. Otherwise, you can put nothing. You can put that you will be slower than the 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Wow, that's a fast half marathon. 2 hours and 30 minutes for the half marathon or 5 hours for the full marathon. You can put that on registration day and then you can get a proof of time later. Proof of time needs to be submitted way before race day. So, as an example, Disneyland half marathon, Disneyland Halloween weekend, which is September 6th, 7th, and 8th of 2025, proof of time date was April 1st. You needed to submit proof of time before April 1st in order for it to count. So you do need lots of time ahead for that proof of time to give it to Run Disney. You can submit a 10K, a 10 miler, a half marathon for the half marathon distance. You can do a 10 miler, half marathon, or full marathon for the full marathon distance. I recommend when you're getting a proof of time, do the slowest. Gosh, my words are really hitting it today. Do the shortest race distance allowed. The reason for that is the longer the distance you go, the longer you have to maintain that pace. and it just makes it harder. So yes, it's not a direct correlation. Some people will say, well, no, you should do the actual race distance because otherwise they're using a calculation to determine whether that 10K time works for that half marathon. And it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. They do add time, which is correct, which is why I'm saying do the shortest distance, because that will factor in that extra time that you would have had to try and maintain that pace, but you don't have to do those miles. So it ends up being a bit of a wash because you don't have to exhaust yourself. You could get that time sooner because if we're looking at just time to train for a race, if you follow my training plans, you know that my half marathon training plan is like 14 to 15 weeks. Well, what if you don't have 14 to 15 weeks in order to get that pace, get that race in the books? What if you only have 10 weeks, 12 weeks? You could do a 10K in that time for a half marathon, as an example. Now, of course, if you're doing a full marathon, you can't use a 10K distance for that. They don't allow that. But do the shorter distance, push your limits for that short distance. And yes, they will calculate it. It's not going to be a direct 1-to-1, but you didn't have to wait longer time to train up for that distance. You didn't have to push the calendar if, your race was going to be, let's call it March 20th. I don't even know what day of the week that would have been, for an April 1st deadline. Do the shortest one, especially if you're a slow runner, injury prone runner, or a not really a runner. And that's who we are in this space. I'm a slow runner. I'm not really a runner kind of runner. It's not my full personality. My full personality is my dog. But I do so many other things that I'm not living and breathing running and all of these things. If I skip a workout, so be it. I'm not hung up on it. It's gone. I'm not making it up. Not really a runner kind of person. So take the shortest distance. Now, let's get into how to actually get fast enough. Oh, so sorry. Where do we get those proof of time? It needs to be a certified race. It can't just be a training run. It has to be a certified race. And they have to be able to, runDisney has to be able to see your race time online. So you have to be able to input a link for them to view it. So it has to be officially timed, and that information needs to end up being visible to runDisney via a link. So let's talk about how to actually get faster. So the top rule for getting faster is make your easy days easy and your hard days hard. What does that mean? That means on your long run, which is supposed to be easy for the majority of those runs, there are special cases where we will do race pace on those long runs. I'm not talking about that today. Long runs should be easy. The easier, the better. The slower, the better. Crawl if you have to make it even slower. In general, my recommendation for easy pace is going to be 2 to 3 minutes slower than race pace as a general rule. Now, as you know, when I work with my clients one-on-one or in Stronger, Faster, Finisher, the group training program, we go through exactly what your easy pace is, and that may not be 2 to 3 minutes slower, but that's because we tested it. When we're talking general rule 2 to 3 minutes slower. That's because it should be about 30% slower than what your race pace is. Okay? So, but if you're one of my clients and you're listening to this and you're looking at your easy pace and you're like, Allie, that is not what mine is. Do I need to go slower? No, you do not. You tested it based on the testing strategy we have. So run your easy long runs, easy. The slower, the better. As an example, I went out for a long run yesterday. It ended up between walking and running, it ended up being 4.74 miles or something like that. I felt like I could have gone so much longer. And the rest of the day, I felt great. Like by the end of the day, it was like 7 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I need to go on a run tomorrow. And then I caught myself. I go, no, you did that today. Like I didn't even feel it. That's how you should feel by 7 o'clock or whatever time is close to your bedtime. 8:30 is my bedtime. So that was close enough. That's how you should feel. Your hard days go hard. Your easy days should be so easy so that you have the energy to go hard on the hard days. Your hard days are going to be your speed work days. Those are going to be your 30, 20, 10, your hills, your tempo, your progression runs. If you don't go slow enough on your easy day, you don't have the energy to push your limits on the hard day. The hard day is where you build your speed and it translates over time to a faster easy day, a faster race pace, right? So if we're thinking our easy day, our easy pace is 30% slower than race pace, if our easy pace gets faster, so does our race pace, even if we never try that race pace, which sometimes you won't during training. Sometimes you will. It all depends on how much time you have before race day. Okay, so go hard on your hard days. That builds your speed economy, meaning your muscles build up the strength, build up the ability to maintain a faster pace. Your body gets used to utilizing the muscles, the nutrients that it has in there, the glycogen stores, and is able to know what to do to handle the lactic acid afterward and recover faster, all of that. But if you don't go slow on your easy day, you don't have the energy to go fast and push your limits on the hard day. So that's the first rule. Easy days are easy, hard days are hard. Then you need to figure out, well, how do I actually do the speed work? I recommend a variety of speed work. At least at the beginning, test the water, see what ones you like. For runDisney, I do recommend having a hill workout at least every other week when you're training, or maybe every third week when you're training for a race because of those ramps at Disney. Other races don't necessarily have the on and off ramps. So they could be completely flat. Some people will say, "Oh, Disney is such a flat race." Yes, and it also includes short bits where you have to go up those hills, those ramps. And if your body is not used to doing those hills, you're automatically going to slow down. Your body isn't really going to know what to do. You do have to use muscles differently going up the hills and going down the hills. So, incorporating hill workouts, incorporating tempo workouts. Tempo workouts to me, now, of course, there are multiple definitions. If you talk to other run coaches, they're going to label tempo paces, tempo runs as something different. Because of the clientele I work with, I actually just make it a little bit more generic where you run a pace that's faster than easy pace and slower than race pace and maintain that for the time frame that is designated for that day. So let's say it's a 30-minute tempo run. Well, you're going to do 10-minute warm up and 10-minute cool down. So it's actually a 10-minute tempo run. And that's on purpose. And you're going to choose a pace that is within those guidelines. It could be a second slower than race pace. The goal is to maintain that same pace the entire time, no fluctuations. Okay, that's tempo. Progression run, you are going to progressively run faster at designated intervals. I recommend using intervals like a minute, especially if you do run walk, because that way you can do your 30-second run and your 30-second walk. Let's say you do a 30-30. And then once you finish that round, well, the next round, the run part of it is faster. I do recommend the walk portion of your run walk interval always be the same pace. Don't vary that one. Find out what your necessary recovery pace is. Keep that steady across your easy, across your speed works, across your race pace, so on and so forth. But the run portion, in the progression run at least, is going to get a little bit faster. Okay? That makes it so your body knows how to get faster and faster. Okay? And over time, every time you do that progression run, your starting progression pace is going to be faster. So then your ending progression pace is going to be faster. Okay, let's say you do a progression run week 3 of your training and you do it every third week. So week 3, we start at your progression pace starts at, I don't know, I'm just choosing a number, 12 minutes and 30 seconds for your run portion. Okay, well, starts at 12 minutes and 30 seconds. The second one is going to be maybe 20 seconds faster, so 12 minutes and 10 seconds. The next one is 20 seconds faster, so that's going to be 11 minutes and 50 seconds. And then the next one, and so on and so forth. They get faster and faster and faster until you've finished that 10-minute chunk. And so you will go up by 10 times, and if it's 20 seconds each time times 10 times, that is 200 seconds faster. So that's what? 3 minutes and change, 3 minutes and 20 seconds faster. So by the end of it, let's call it you're running a 9-minute per mile pace at the last progression portion. But you're doing it for 30 seconds or a minute at a time. So your body gets used to it. And then next time you go to do it, you will, instead of starting at 12 minutes and 30 seconds, maybe you're starting at 12 minutes per mile. And you get faster and faster and faster, and so on and so forth. And then finally, you have your 30, 20, 10, 30 seconds jogging, 20 seconds running, and 10 seconds sprinting. Now, those names may be scary. Really, it's 30 seconds of pace 1, 20 seconds of pace 2, and 10 seconds of pace 3. So if you're a walker, if you are really slow, if you are really fast, you can still do this type of workout. 30, 20, 10 is my absolute favorite for run walkers. So you pick your jog speed. It's going to be somewhere around either walking or your easy pace. That jog speed will stay the same. And then your 20 seconds is a run speed. So you are going to go faster than your easy pace. And your 10 seconds of sprinting, that is all out. Okay. And you can just do general, like, okay, I'm going to jog and then I'm going to run a little bit faster and then I'm going to go balls to the wall and I'm going to go all out for those 10 seconds. Or you can figure out what those individual paces are with specific testing. Like my clients in Stronger, Faster, Finisher, that's what they do. So those 4 are your speed workouts, and you incorporate them throughout the week. I recommend, if you're following my training plan, on Tuesday, Thursday are short speed workouts. Those are 30 to 45 minutes long, 10 minutes warm up, 10 minutes cool down, and then the in between is whatever you're doing for that workout. And I like 30, 20, 10 is one of my clients' favorite training ways to train. So I actually keep 30, 20, 10 as every Tuesday workout. And then I alternate between hills, tempo, and progression for the other workouts on Thursday. And so one week it will be hills, one week it will be progression, one week it will be tempo. And then you just keep rotating and alternating with that. So that's how you set up your workouts. And then, of course, you also have your cross training 2 days a week, and then you have 2 rest days. Rest days are absolutely important because rest is when your body's recovering, either recovering from an injury or recovering from all of the work you've been doing. If you aren't giving yourself rest days, you aren't going to get faster. You also need to eat. So you need to eat and fuel during your long runs. You need to eat and fuel breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, because if you are working your body as hard as you can, you need to replenish the storage of energy in your body, and that comes in the form of food. So carbs, some fats, protein. Also include strength workouts. Now, if you have listened, if you are in my world for any length of time, you know strength training is not my favorite. I do it because I need to. I have figured out exactly what to do to make it so that I can get stronger, so my clients can get stronger without having to spend hours and hours in the gym. But you do need to do some. If you have ever looked at elite athletes, elite track runners, the sprinter's body looks very different than the marathoner's body. And that's because the sprinters do need to create power from their muscles. They need big glutes, big calves to propel themselves forward. Those are two major muscle groups that you need to increase in order to get faster. So, including strength workouts, I do recommend a whole body workout. But when in doubt, if you only have time for two types of exercises, exercises that go for your glutes and exercises that go for your calf muscles, if you're looking at building speed and getting faster. And then, of course, your proof of time race. You need to choose a race that meets the qualifications in the time frame to have that proof of time for your next race. So you do need to do a little finagling, look at the calendar, look at the race, see what you can do. So I know marathon weekend is going to be a July 1st proof of time limit. So getting something as close to that date as possible to give yourself the maximum amount of time to train. So if you're looking for the half marathon, the marathon, goofy, dopey for your race, and you need a proof of time, get something as close to proof of time date, not cutting it too close in case there's a delay in getting the numbers, but end of May, sometime in June, to get as much time as you can, to get as fast as you can, but also be able to input that data beforehand. So I talked a little bit about getting half marathon proof of time. Same concept for marathon proof of time. I would recommend doing a 10-miler race for the marathon, or goofy or dopey. Do a 10-miler because that's the shortest. I keep wanting to say slowest. That's the shortest allowable distance for proof of time. But if you do a 10-miler versus 26.2 for that race, that is a big difference. That is 16-mile difference. And yes, they will do the math, and you can find that calculator online. Everybody says it's the Macmillan calculation, so you can Google that to get an estimated proof of time of what you would need for the 10-miler or your 10K, if we're talking about the half marathon, to see what your pace would have to be and see if you could reasonably get it. Now, what's reasonable? If you are right now doing a 7 to a 7.5 hour marathon, I don't think it's reasonable to get under a 5-hour marathon. I think that's too big of a gap. Now, if you are a new runner, you do have more leeway than somebody who's been running these races for years. You actually will make bigger gains as a newer runner at that distance than somebody who's been racing it for years. You will notice much larger jumps, but probably closer to 30-minute jumps, not 2-hour and 30-minute jumps. So if you're at like a 5.5-hour marathon, I think it would be reasonable to be able to get 4 hours and 58 minutes as an example, because you don't need to get much lower than 5 hours. You just need the bare minimum of crossing that threshold. Okay, so we don't shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars. I don't want to dissuade you from trying to get a proof of time, but I want realistic expectations. You will make larger gains than somebody who's been running it for years. But remember, if you have 2.5 hours to go, it may not happen. But do your best to try, because start now, because you'll only get better over time. You don't have to put it off. If you get faster now, well, you learn some things, and then next time you can get even faster than that. But take all of this information. Number one rule, go easy on your easy day, hard on your hard days, so that you have the energy to put forth to really push your limits. Time it out with your calendar so you have enough time to actually make gains. The longer, well, I was going to say the longer the better, but there will be a cutoff time where you end up plateauing from all of where you're at. So, if you're trying to get a proof of time using a 10K and you give yourself a whole year, well, your body's going to need some rest in there and you might start plateauing. You may even go backwards a little bit without some designated rest in there. But, don't book one out 4 weeks in advance. 4 weeks is not enough time to get faster. You really do need 10 to 12 weeks for a 10K and 10 miler. 10 miler, I would even recommend closer to 4 months. Remember, for this general population that I am talking to, injury prone, slow, and not really a runner type of runner. Do your best, and if you do submit a proof of time and you get it, or even if you don't but you got faster, let me know. runDisney DPT on Instagram. Hey, can I ask a quick favor? If you're enjoying this podcast, would you take 20 seconds to leave a rating and review? Leaving a rating and a review helps other runners find this podcast because the platform you're listening to this on will start suggesting it to runners like you. All it takes is 20 seconds. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast. As always, thanks so much for listening. That's all for now. Talk to you soon.